So in this topic we will be discussing about the more of the biotic factors which affect the patterns of distribution of organism. These include the predators and prey and parasites and hosts. So what are the predators? Predators may be another biological factor influencing the distribution of species. So predators are the organisms which feed on the prey, right? So they kill other organisms and they eat them. So they are also an important biological factors that influence the distribution of species, as may the presence and absence of parasites in the habitat. But their effects have been much less studied than those of competition. So we do know that these are influencing, but we have less studied as compared to the competition. So the simplest influence that predators might have to eliminate the species by eating them, or alternatively to prevent the entry of new ones into the habitat. So predators work in two ways. They can eat off all the organisms of one species from a particular area. So they will kill all those species organism, and there will be no organism left of that species. Another way that they are limiting the patterns of distribution of that particular species in an area, that they are already living in a particular area and surrounding areas contains that species. So what happens that if there is some individual, some organism, some particular individual of that species comes in their area, what happens that they will kill and eat that. So in that way there will be no population of the hunted species, the prey species will be able to survive in the grounds in which the predator is living. So a species is preyed upon too heavily, and the predators can always turn to alternative food species if the number of their usual prey should be reduced by climatic or other influences. So sometimes what happens that there is a one particular prey and they are eating too much of it, and it will go extinct or it is reduced in numbers so much that they will be choosing an other prey instead. So this is termed as the prey switching. That means they have changed their prey, right? So here now the next thing are the parasites. The parasites are the organisms which are living on the expense of other organisms. So these type of organisms on which the parasites are living are called host organisms. So parasites reduce the rate of growth of population because of their negative influence on the general fitness, survival and fecundity. So general fitness, that means the population will not be fit. Survival, they will decrease the survival of that species. And fecundity, that means their number of individuals in that species, they will be less surviving and they will be able to less reproduce. So, and the parasites rarely cause a complete extinction. Now you will ask that why parasites are not completely killing off their host. That's because this would hardly be in their interest. If there are no host, there won't be any parasites as well. And then there is the effects of the parasites and the predators on the species diversity. Parasites may increase the diversity, but it may also reduce it. So how does a parasite increase the biodiversity? So the presence of predators is likely to increase rather than reduce the number of species present. So predators broaden the distribution of species. So if there are parasites in a particular species, what will happen? The number of individuals in that species, that will decrease. So what will happen, that the competing organism will have an advantage and a lot of different organisms will occupy the same niche, and that will increase the biodiversity. And same goes for the predators as well. If predator kills the number of prey species, those prey species are feeding on number of different species as well. So when the prey population is less, the number of species on which prey is feeding, they will increase, and that will increase the biodiversity. So in a grassland, the complicated set of interaction between the predator, grazer and plant can lead to development of finely balanced and diverse community, and same happens in the coral reef in the oceans. And then there are the keystone species. You may already know about the keystone species in some other course from ecology. Um, the removal of certain species could create effects far in excess of what may originally have been expected. So, influential species of this kind are known as keystone species. So, some species, if they went extinct, the whole ecological system will be disturbed, and these species are called keystone species. So, identifying the keystone species in an ecosystem is clearly a very important task, especially if biodiversity is to be maintained. The loss of keystone species can be cause an avalanche of local extinction, and this will lead to the decrease in the biodiversity. So you see that one species, the extinction of one species, can lead to the avalanche of the local extinction, and that will surely decrease the biodiversity.